Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, Eid Mubarak. I hope that you enjoyed a peaceful and beautiful and beneficial Ramadan. And inshallah, the blessings of Ramadan will last throughout this year. Hopefully you're going to be fasting the 6 days of Shawwal and continue those blessings. Today, it's interesting that Mother's Day fell right at the end of Ramadan this year. And so I want to talk to you about mothers, well, not Mother's Day in particular, but mothers in general. And so when I say mothers, there's a couple angles that I want to approach this from. One angle is, this is Men of Deen, and so the purpose of Men of Deen is to bring together practicing brothers with practicing Muslim sisters for the sake of marriage. And so in the context of marriage, the type of woman that you should be looking for as a brother who is on his deen is the type of mother that we're celebrating on Mother's Day. And for the sisters who are watching, the question is the opposite, which is, well, what is the type of woman that becomes the type of mother to be celebrated? Because we know it's not all mothers are equal, not all humans are equal, not all mothers are equal. I am reading from Surah Al-Imran. This is ayat number 113. Okay. Actually, prior to that, let me read the hadith that references Jannah being at the feet of your mother. I think everyone knows this. Muawiyah ibn Jannah reported, Jannah came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, O Messenger of Allah, I need to join the expedition I seek your counsel. The Prophet said, do you have a mother? He said, yes. The Prophet said, stay with her, for paradise is beneath her feet. Okay, so we've all heard that surah, but at the same time, we also know from the Quran that we're not all equal, right? So again, this is Surah Al-Imran, ayat 113. Not all of them are alike. Of the people of the book are a portion that stand for the right. They rehearse the signs of Allah all night long, and they prostrate themselves in adoration. They believe in Allah on the last day, and they enjoy what is right, and they forbid what is wrong. And they hasten in emulation in all good works, and they are in the ranks of the righteous. Of the good that they do, nothing will be rejected of them, for Allah knoweth well those who do right. Okay, so obviously there is a difference between those who do right and those who do wrong. This is not revolutionary. But in the context of Mother's Day and mothers, what does this all mean? Well, first of all, should Muslims be celebrating Mother's Day? This is actually quite a simple answer. Islam is first, and Islam doesn't conform to society. We force culture to conform to Islam. Okay, so Islamically, no, we don't need to celebrate Mother's Day. And the reality is that if you are treating your mother properly and you're giving her the respect and love that she has earned, then there's no need. I've actually forgotten Mother's Day a few times, but I see my mother and talk to my mother on a very frequent basis, and so there's no need for me to call her up on this particular day and say Happy Mother's Day when I'm a good son to her 365 days of the year. But stepping back from that, okay, well, Mother's Day. Mother's Day is when a bunch of companies have decided that they have to forecast their sales and profits in order to, deal with their books and know when their money is coming and when their products will be bought. They've designated a day that's called Mother's Day so that we all buy their products. I don't need a company to tell me when to pay respect to my mother. And so in that context, even if you're just looking at the dunya, companies really shouldn't be telling you how and when to pay respect to your mother. Paying respect to your mother is something that you should be doing on a daily basis, inshallah. Okay. And then, on the other hand, so on Mother's Day, what is it that people do for their mothers, right? Typically you'll take your mom for dinner, maybe you'll buy her flowers, you'll get her a particular gift. But, the question really is, what is it that mothers really want from their children? What do parents want from their children? Well, my father, his body died a few years ago now. And so my relationship with my father has been relegated to the life that I lead. If I live a righteous life, then the prayers that I make for my father will be heard. And the prayers that I make for my father will possibly, inshallah, raise him a level in Jannah. And so everything, about my relationship with my father is predicated on my being righteous, right? So the most that we can do for our mothers is to be righteous human beings. Okay, so if you're an unrighteous human being, you're not a practicing Muslim, you're not on your deen, but you show up and say Happy Mother's Day, what actually are you doing for your mother? Right? I mean, all the work and the sacrifice and the physical and emotional pain and distress that many mothers go through to bring children into the world and then to raise them properly. Do they do it for flowers on Mother's Day, or do they do it because they want you to become righteous human beings? Right? So on Mother's Day, flowers on Mother's Day. Flowers on Mother's Day matter if you're doing your best to be that righteous human being every other day of the week. And if you are that righteous human being who is on your deen, then you will be paying your mother the proper respect and honor every day of the week, right? Okay, so is Jannah at the feet of every mother? And, ladies, how do you become one of those mothers under whose feet Jannah lies? Brothers, how do you discern the sister who is and will become one of those mothers under whose feet Jannah lies? Right? I mean, if you're a liar, a prostitute, a murderer, an adulterer, I mean, you can't just live any kind of life. And just because you're a mother, Jannah is underneath your feet. So there's a certain type of mother that you're trying to marry. There's a certain type of woman that, if you're a sister, you're trying to become, to be one of these mothers under whose feet Jannah lies. And so I spent some time and kind of pulled together from the Quran some references that describe this type of mother. So first, well, okay, not necessarily in the order of importance, okay, but I'll give them numbers anyway. But number one, a mother needs to have a deep love for her children. A deep love for her children. And I'm not really going to try to define love, but you have to have a deep love for your children. And that love will be expressed through the other qualities. So rather than try to define love, I will kind of go through these points that will illustrate how that deep love manifests in a mother. Okay. So number two, sacrifice and dedication. Okay. A mother who deeply loves her children will sacrifice for her children. She will be dedicated to her children. Sacrifice what? Well, she'll sacrifice her time. She'll sacrifice her sleep. She'll sacrifice her pleasures. She'll sacrifice her desires. She'll sacrifice her pleasures. She'll sacrifice money, income. She'll sacrifice career. You know, so many women today are so focused on career that they subjugate their family, they subjugate their children to their careers. Children come before careers. Families come before careers. There's no gray area. The domain of the mother is the home and the cultivation of the children. That's it. It's not go out and work and make money to support the family. I mean, if that's what you have to do to be able to protect and cultivate the home, the children in the home, but it's not career first and children, family second. Okay? And there's much that women can contribute to society. There's no question about that. Women are brilliant. Intellectually speaking, there's no difference between what a woman can do and what a man can do. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us roles. And those roles protect the family. And the family is the nuclei of the ummah. And so to compromise your children for the sake of a career is un-Islamic. And I will just leave that right there. You may have lots of things that you would like to become and do and learn. And if you can do and learn and become these things and still make sure that you're prioritizing the cultivation of your children and the maintenance of the home, then by all means. But you don't compromise the cultivation of your children and the maintenance of the home to become these things outside of the home. And so, brothers, when you're looking for your wife, you're not looking for somebody who is a career woman who's going to prioritize making money, because, brothers, that is your responsibility. And if you're looking for somebody who's going to work and make money, as opposed to somebody who's going to cultivate your children and protect and manage your home, well, that's a conversation for a different day for the brothers. Okay? So that is the sacrifice and dedication of a mother, that a mother who has a deep love for her children will do. Third is protection and security. And now there's a fine line between a mother who protects and gives her children security. Hey, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. There's a fine line between that protection and security and the coddling and the spoiling of children. And so if you have a deep love for your children as a mother, you're going to look for where this line is and make sure that you don't cross it. You know, you want to protect your children, but you don't want to spoil them. You don't want to make them incapable of living life on their own because you've gone overboard in your protection and your coddling of your children. And so, brothers, if you're looking for your wife, you want to make sure that she understands this nuance, the difference between spoiling, coddling, and protecting her children. Number 4, the mother who deeply loves her children is also one who introduces them to the world. And that means specifically, you don't just throw your children into the world. You don't just give them a phone and let them go. You don't just put them in front of the internet and let them rip. You don't just throw them out into the world and you know, whatever happens, happens and wait for them to survive. You filter the world and you're careful and methodical about how you bring the world into the purview of your children. You watch what they're watching. You listen to what they hear. You watch what they read. You deal with the school and make sure that what's coming in to your child from society is something that's going to help them. And you look at the timing of what is coming in front of your child. If you are a mother who deeply, hey, what's going on? Assalamu alaikum. If you are a mother who has a deep love for her children. Now, number 5, in my estimate, this is probably the most important characteristic of a mother who has a deep love for her children. And for those of you just joining, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am talking about mothers in honor of Mother's Day, and talking specifically about the characteristics for the brothers who are looking for wives, of the characteristics that will be expressed in a woman who they will be seeking for a wife, and for the sisters, the characteristics that you as future mothers would seek to attain unto yourselves. And so number 5 is really, really critical, is that as a mother who deeply loves her children, you have to recognize that you are the model for your children. You are the example to your daughters of what a woman should be. And you are the model for your sons of the woman they aspire to marry. And you have to really internalize this, that your children will look at your habits, they'll look at your behaviors, they'll look at your housekeeping habits, how you cook, how you care for your husband, how you care for the home, your hygiene, how you dress, how you speak, how you walk. You know, it's a lot. It is a lot. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. But it does mean that you have to aspire to become the best version of yourself. You know, your emotional control, how you cultivate the home, how you love and care for your husband. You know, children are always watching. They're always watching. They're always listening. It is, subhanallah, it is a lot of pressure. But again, it's not perfection, but it's your children, because your children know when you try, you know, and they know when you don't care. They know when you don't make an effort. And so what really matters is not that you are the perfect example of a mother, but you're constantly making an effort to try and become the best version of yourselves, because your children will recognize the effort that you make. They will not, you know, and they don't need perfection, but they need perfection in your effort. And that to me, in my personal opinion, is really the crux of what it means to be a mother who deeply loves your children, is the effort that you make to become the best version of yourself, to become the best Muslimah you can possibly become. And when your children see that you live trying to be the best that you can be, and that you die trying to be the best that you can be, that is the best example that you can set for your daughters. And that will set up your sons to find that type of woman to be their wives. And if they have a woman who's struggling and trying every day to be the best woman that she can be, to be the best Muslimah that she can be, rest assured your son will have a great supporter, that your grandchildren will have a great mother. Number 6, setting clear goals. So it's one thing to tell your children what to do. It's another thing to set a clear goal and expectation for them and then guide them in that direction. It's one thing to tell your kids to do things properly. It's another thing to guide them to do it properly, to show them and instruct them and teach them how to do things properly. I see a lot of parents and who really focus on telling kids what to do, but not empowering them by helping them and showing them how to do it. So note that there's a difference between telling and setting goals. Okay, a mother who loves her children dearly will encourage her children according to their potential. Okay, a mother who loves her children deeply will never compare one child to the other child. But she will look at each child and she will sense their gifts and their strengths and their weaknesses. And she will seek to enhance the gifts and to gently change and eradicate and modify the weaknesses. Okay? And I think that the key term in there is the gentleness. As a dad, as a man, I can be harsh. I'm direct, and I'm not necessarily soft. And I think what children look for in their mothers is that softness, is that, maybe as a father I'll see, a problem with a child and I'm on it, and it doesn't necessarily feel good all the time, but I get the job done. But when children, look to their mothers, they look for the same correction, but they look for a level of gentleness and nurturing in making those corrections. And so, it's important that you look at your children as individuals and that you look for their strengths and look for their weakness and you guide them in developing their strengths and then gently correct them in their weaknesses. Okay, and the last kind of overarching quality that a mother who deeply loves her children looks to aspire to become is to have an awareness of the responsibility that you have. Just an awareness, like you're not just living from day to day, from one moment to the next, but you are fully aware of the symbolism that you hold for your children, the future wife of your son, the woman that your daughter aspires to be, and that you live in acknowledgement and awareness of what you represent to your children, and likewise the value that you hold for your husband. It's not a light responsibility at all. It's quite heavy. But again, we don't require perfection of you, just a constant grinding daily effort to become the best woman that you can become, to become the best Muslimah that you can become. And inshallah, if you do that, you will become a great mother, a mother who is worthy of having Jannah at her feet. Inshallah. Anybody like to join? Now's the time. Otherwise, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.